A colony can look completely healthy on the outside, bees flying, traffic at the entrance, everything appearing normal, while it is already weeks into a silent collapse that will be irreversible by the time you finally notice. The most dangerous hive failures are not the dramatic ones. They are the quiet ones, where everything looks fine right up until the colony is too far gone to save. And there is one sign that gives it away early, long before the obvious symptoms appear, that almost nobody checks. Here's the full story. The cruelest thing about a failing colony is how normal it looks while it is failing. New beekeepers expect a dying hive to look dramatic, like there will be obvious distress, piles of dead bees, some unmistakable signal. So they watch the entrance, see bees coming and going, and conclude everything is fine. Meanwhile, inside the box, the colony is unwinding thread by thread, and by the time the outside finally looks as bad as the inside actually is, the window to do anything about it has already closed. This happens because a colony has enormous reserves that mask decline. A hive going into a quiet failure still has thousands of foragers who will keep flying and bringing in nectar for weeks, even as the colony's ability to replace them collapses behind the scenes. The entrance looks busy because the existing workforce is still doing its job. But a worker bee in summer lives only about 6 weeks. If the colony has stopped producing healthy replacements, that busy entrance is running on borrowed time. The foragers you see flying today are not evidence of health. They are the last generation of a colony that has already stopped renewing itself. Understanding that gap between how a colony looks and what is actually happening inside it is the difference between catching a failure in time and discovering a dead hive in spring you swore was thriving in fall. The entire question of colony health comes down to one thing, and it is not honey, not population, not temperament. It is whether the colony is successfully replacing the bees it loses every single day. A colony is not a fixed group of bees, it is a river. Bees are constantly dying of old age and being replaced by new ones emerging from brood. As long as the rate of replacement matches or exceeds the rate of loss, the colony holds strong. The moment replacement falls behind, the colony begins to shrink, slowly at first, then faster, and almost always invisibly from the outside until it is far advanced. So the one sign that actually matters, the thing you should check on every single inspection, is the brood. Not the bees flying, not the honey stores, the brood. Specifically, whether there is a healthy, solid pattern of capped and open brood across the frames in the heart of the nest, in the quantity you would expect for the season. The brood is the colony's future. It is the replacement generation in progress. And the brood tells you the truth about a colony's trajectory weeks before the adult population reflects it. A colony with a strong brood pattern is renewing itself and will be strong in a month, no matter what it looks like today. A colony with a weak, spotty, or shrinking brood pattern is failing to renew itself and will be weak in a month, no matter how busy the entrance looks right now. The brood is the leading indicator. Everything else is lagging. Quick word before I continue. Reading brood the way the experienced keepers do, spotting the early failure patterns, knowing a queen is going before the colony shows it, all of it is written out step by step in the Hive Vault at daleshiv.com. Volume 1 walks through it frame by frame. This video gives you the heart of it free. The Vault is just everything in one place for folks who would rather read it. That is the last you will hear of it from me. Talk. So what are you actually looking for when you check the brood? Let me walk through the early warning signs, because they are subtle and they appear in a specific order. The first sign of trouble is a brood pattern that is thinning or becoming spotty. A healthy frame of brood looks solid, with capped cells packed tightly together in a consistent sheet, only the occasional gap. When you start seeing a shotgun pattern, lots of empty cells scattered among the capped ones, something is wrong. It can mean a failing queen whose eggs are not all viable, or a disease-killing brood, or a queen running out of laying room. Whatever the cause, a deteriorating brood pattern is the earliest visible sign that the colony's renewal engine is faltering. The second sign is a shrinking quantity of brood overall. If on one inspection the colony has 6 frames of healthy brood and 3 weeks later it has 3, the colony is winding down its renewal even if the adult population still looks fine. The adults are coasting on the brood that was laid weeks ago. The shrinking brood tells you the next generation will be smaller, and the one after that, smaller still. The third sign, and the most urgent, is the absence of eggs or very young larvae. Eggs tell you the queen was laying within the last 3 days. If you inspect and find capped brood but no eggs and no tiny larvae, it means the queen stopped laying recently, and you may have lost her or she may be failing fast. A colony can look completely populated and busy while being effectively queenless, coasting on the last brood she laid before she failed. That is the textbook quiet collapse, and the only way to catch it is to look for eggs. There is a reason eggs are the signal that matters most, and it comes down to time. By the time the adult population visibly drops, the queen failure that caused it happened weeks earlier. The colony has been coasting on stored brood the whole time, masking the problem. But eggs are a real-time signal. An egg in a cell today means the queen was alive and laying within 72 hours. No eggs means the laying has stopped right now, and the clock on the colony's renewal has already started. This is why experienced keepers train themselves to spot eggs even though they are tiny and hard to see. The egg is the single most current piece of information the hive will give you. Everything else you can see, the capped brood, the adult bees, the honey, is a record of decisions the colony made weeks ago. The eggs are the only thing telling you about today. Kermit. Here are the mistakes that let quiet failures run until it is too late. Mistake 1 is judging the colony by the entrance. Entrance activity is the single most misleading signal in beekeeping because it reflects the existing forager force, which is the last thing to decline. A busy entrance on a quietly failing colony is the norm, not the exception. Stop reading the doorway and start reading the brood. Mistake 2 is inspecting too rarely during the active season. A quiet failure can go from early signs to irreversible in a matter of weeks. If you only open the hive once a month or less in summer, you can easily miss the entire window. Regular brood checks through the active season are how you catch it in time. Mistake 3 is seeing a problem and hoping it resolves itself. A spotty brood pattern or a missing queen does not usually fix itself. A colony that has lost its queen and has no young larvae to raise a new one from is on a countdown to collapse and needs intervention, whether that is a new queen or combining with a strong colony. Hope is not a management strategy, early action is. Mistake 4 is not knowing what healthy looks like in the first place. You cannot spot a deteriorating brood pattern if you have never studied a strong one. Learn what a solid, healthy frame of brood looks like for each season, so that the moment yours starts to drift from it, you notice immediately. Picture yourself inspecting your hives the way an experienced keeper does. You barely glance at the entrance, because you know it tells you almost nothing. You go straight to the brood nest. You look for a solid, consistent pattern of capped brood. You check for eggs and young larvae, confirming the queen was laying in the last few days. You note roughly how many frames of brood there are, so you will know next time whether it is growing or shrinking. In 60 seconds, you have read the colony's actual trajectory, not its appearance. And on the day a colony starts to quietly fail, you catch it on the first inspection where the brood looks wrong, weeks before the entrance would ever have shown it. You requeen, or you combine, or you treat, while there is still time and still a colony worth saving. The quiet failure that would have killed the hive over winter gets caught and corrected in summer because you were reading the one sign that actually matters. Drop a comment and tell me whether you have ever lost a colony that looked perfectly healthy right up until it wasn't. I read every comment at Dale's Hive. The full guide to reading colony health frame by frame is waiting in the vault at daleshive.com whenever you want it. Subscribe and turn on notifications because next week we are covering exactly how to tell a failing queen from a healthy one, so you can replace her before the colony pays the price. The hive that looks fine is not always fine. Now you know the one place to look for the truth.